Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video I'd like to show you everything that I'm planning on making this summer season, and there are lots of projects, lots of linen. I'm really excited. I think that a lot of the projects aren't too complicated, so I might be able to get to all of them. But to be honest, I've been going through a slightly difficult, well, very difficult period. I've gotten some pretty bad news. Don't worry about me. I'm in good health. My family, my friends are all in good health. It's not life-threatening. It's just upsetting, and it's going to represent really big changes in my life very soon. So I've been, grieving a lot lately. And I will share eventually. I can't share in detail right now, but anyway, I think that talking about my creative plans for this season, especially my favorite summer season for sewing and wearing clothes, is going to lift up my mood, and I'm excited to spend this time with you today talking about them to think of something else. So I have about 15 projects to share with you today, or 15 project plans, and lots of beautiful fabric, and so get comfortable. And if you're new here, hello, my name is Sarah. I am Franco-American, as in I grew up in the US and now I live in France, and I mention that because I think that it influences how I dress and what I make. And I do sometimes share what it's like living in France. And this channel is mostly about my sewing projects, but sometimes I share a little bit of embroidery or I dabble in knitting. And so I hope that inspires you and that you find that interesting, and welcome. So without further ado, let me get straight into it. And this is my first project plan, which you can see is almost finished. This is the Closet Crew or Closet Core Crew periwinkle blouse. I made the dress version just recently in a really interesting sort of viscose twill fabric, and it was much thicker and stiffer fabric than this one is. This is the lightest possible fabric I think I probably could have chosen. This is a viscose and linen blend fabric that I got from Sacré Coupon, which is a fabric shop in Paris, and I did make a Revel topper, the Sew House 7 Revel topper, in this fabric as well. But since I bought a coupon, or a cut of 3 meters of fabric, the coupon is the French word for it, I had another 1.5 meters left, so I decided to make the Closet Crew Patterns periwinkle shirt, or blouse, because I wanted to see what it would look like in a lighter fabric, so what the gathers would look like here in a lighter fabric, and then I wanted something sort of diaphanous to make with this fabric, and I think it's going pretty well. I just need to add the buttons now. The collar was pretty difficult to do, mostly because I kept mixing up the wrong side and the right side of the fabric, and so I kept sewing pieces on to the wrong side rather than right sides together. So for example, the bias binding that goes around the armhole, or the opening of the arm, I stitched it to the wrong side rather than the right side, and then I had to very, very carefully stitch it down. And then same with the collar, you can see it's a little bit munchy or crunchy here. Let me take it off for you. You can see that the stitching isn't as exact as on the wrong side because I sewed it to the wrong side rather than right sides together, and then I had to sew it down very carefully by hand here. But I think it'll be okay. I think that it's going to be really light and lovely and a great layering piece for the summertime, to have something over my shoulders when I want it, to cover it from the sun, to keep my shoulders safe. And I think that it's going to be great. So I will finish that very soon, and let me show you the next one. The next project is a bit of a challenge, and I'd like to make the True Bias Bryn cardigan out of this medium weight rib knit white viscose jersey from Minerva. This fabric was gifted to me in exchange, or for free, in exchange for an article on their website that will be coming out once I finish making the cardigan. And I think it's just so lovely. It's very slinky. As you can see, it's got a lot of stretch, so I think it's going to be great for this cardigan because this cardigan requires very stretchy fabric. You can make it in a cotton rib knit or jersey sort of viscose or bamboo rib knit, and I think that this one's going to be perfect in terms of stretch, but I say that it's going to be tricky because I think that it is so slinky that I'm going to have to be very careful to make sure that the stitches don't wave, or it doesn't stretch out the fabric and then I get wavy stitch lines with this fabric, and so we'll see. But I really like the shape of that cardigan. I think that it reminds me of my youth, of high school years and tight-fitting cardigans. It's very 90s coded. I've been needing a new white cardigan because I have one that I bought ready to wear. It's a cotton cardigan, and I wear it all the time, but it's starting to show its age. It's about 10 years old now, and so I think that I'll replace it with this, although this viscose rib knit it's sort of that tacky, cool touch jersey that you get sometimes. So we'll see if it, but in any case, it's so stretchy that I know it's going to be very comfortable, and I just need to be very, very careful sewing it. The next project I'd like to make is a True Bias Zoe tank in this aqua green, sort of light aqua green cotton rib knit. So contrary to the viscose rib knit that I just showed you, you can see that the thickness and stretch are completely different. If you're wondering what's the difference between viscose and a cotton rib knit. This is also a medium weight and it's not as stretchy, it's much more of a tank top sort of fabric, and that's exactly what I'm going to make. I'm going to make the Zoe tank top and I'm going to make the original neckline, so the V-neck version, and I'm excited to make it. It looks like a relatively easy make to do, something that comes together pretty quickly. This fabric was also gifted to me by Minerva for free in exchange for an article on their website. These are the two sponsored projects, by the way. And yeah, I think it's going to be a great layering piece, especially for more casual pieces in the home and on the weekends, because I don't have a whole lot of those. I've been sewing so many sort of not fancy, but dresses and skirts and tops that I can wear to work that I don't have a whole lot to wear on the weekend. And so, I mean, this is probably the most casual thing I have. That's an exaggeration, but anyway, I think that a tank top will be very useful in my wardrobe. And I think that in this color, this light aqua green, it's gonna be really, really great. So I'm excited. Next, I would like to work with this absolutely gorgeous fabric. This is a cotton and silk blend fabric by Nani Iro. It's a Japanese fabric, and I purchased it while on my honeymoon in Kyushu last year. And I purchased it, I think, in Fukuoka at, I can't remember the name of the shop, but I'll link it below and I'll link that video as well if you'd like to see what I got up to fabric shopping in Japan. And this is just such a beautiful fabric. I love the sort of hand-painted looking watercolor designs, and I've just been agonizing over what to make with this, and I've finally figured out what I want to make. I'd like to make the Seamwork Loretta top. I've made this once before in a light cotton that's much less drapey than this fabric, and I do wear it quite a lot in the summertime because it's very airy, it doesn't cling, it leaves a lot of space for airflow in the summertime. And I wore it in that video that I created, the Hansi top 3 ways, and I got a lot of comments asking me what that top was, and it's the Seamwork Loretta top that I was wearing. And I realized that I do also really like that top, so why not make it again? And I think that in this fabric, so my main concern with this fabric was that the watercolor sort of flowers are very far apart, and I think that the gathers at the neckline of the Loretta top will sort of bring them a little bit closer together so that I can see them and I won't be wasting any of them, like cutting them off and then doing whatever with the scraps. Also, because it is a silk blend, I need to be careful not to stain it and not to wear it in a too tight-fitting garment, I think, because it's so light and fragile. I think that washing it very often will be detrimental to the fabric, and so I think that with the Loretta top, because it's so loose and flowing, it's not going to be up in under my arm and it won't get too sweaty. I usually wear the Loretta top with a camisole underneath, especially with this one because this fabric's not opaque. I will be wearing something underneath to protect it also from my skin, and so I think it will last a really long time, and I think I will get a lot of wear out of the Loretta top if I make it out of this. And finally, cut this out and sew it, and I can't wait. Oh, it's so soft. I can't tell you how soft this is. Oh. Then continuing on with the theme of sewing with Japanese fabrics, I would like to sew with this cotton fabric that I got at Mihama, the fabric shop in Nippori in Tokyo, the fabric town in Tokyo. And I bought this back in 2023 when I went for work to Tokyo. And I think that I was a little bit afraid at first to make this motif. It goes this way. Because it is sort of a loud, very traditional Japanese motif, but I love this rose gold color, and I think that I could pull it off, especially because I've stopped highlighting my hair in the last, I think the last time was about 1.5 years ago, and so this is my natural hair color that's coming in, and it's a lot darker than I'm used to because it's darkening with age. I used to be a naturally dark blonde girl, but blonder than today. And so I think that this will go nicely with my coloring, and I'm excited to make it. So anyway, I want to make the O's Patterns Brene top. I've made this many times before because I find it to be the perfect staple top in the summertime. It's got wide straps and it's more of a square cut top. It's not too loose, it's not too fitting. It's got darts for shaping in the bust, and it's easy to tuck in or wear loose. It's not too long, not too short. And I just love it. I love the asymmetrical collar detail at the neckline, and I love how it's square cut, but it's not too low, not too high. It sort of shows off the collarbones, and it's just really easy to wear casually, but also to work because it covers bra straps. And yeah, it's just a great classic top, and so I highly recommend making it. It's beginner level as well, but be careful because there's a lot of little details to it, especially with the asymmetrical collar detail. But anyway, I think it'll look absolutely gorgeous in this. I have 1 meter, and this is actually, I think, kimono fabric. So I'm not sure if it's supposed to be for, maybe it's for the obi part, you know, the wide sort of belt that goes over a traditional kimono, because it's really cool the way it's woven. It's got these little raised sort of stripes on it too. And I think it's gonna be really, really nice in this top. So I cannot wait to make that, and I think it's going to go really quickly, so I'll be able to wear it very soon. And then the last Japanese fabric make that I would like to get to this summertime is this fabric. Is this the right way? Yes, it goes this way. So this is some really, really gorgeous, also kimono fabric. So you see it's got the same texture as the previous fabric that I just showed you. And I also purchased this in the same place as the last fabric in Nippori Town, the fabric town in Tokyo. And I love these colors. I'll have to be very careful with the direction of the print. So it's obviously supposed to be this way, right sides up, or the design goes this way. I think it'd be weird if these flowers, for example, were upside down and the wave pattern was upside down. So I need to make sure to cut out the pieces accordingly. But I would like to make these silver Una dress. I made this very recently in a light green, sort of mint green fabric. And I think the difference between what I need to be careful with is this fabric has no stretch to it. It's 100% cotton. And that fabric had a little bit of elastane in it. And so it's very easy to wear. Especially sit-in, it provides a little extra ease because the Una dress is a little bit more tight-fitting for a summer dress. But I think that it's the perfect sort of blank palette for louder or more interesting fabrics because it doesn't have too many design features that will break up the pattern, and I'll be able to cut it without really, breaking up the pattern of this and wear it. I have, I think, 1 meter of this as well, and I think I'll need every bit of it for the Una dress because this is a very narrow fabric, and I think it's going to look amazing. So I'm going to be applying the same modifications as I've applied to previous Una dresses, in that I'm going to add an invisible zip in the left side seam so that it's easier to get on and off. And then I'm going to lower the waistband about 2 centimeters to my natural waist instead of a slightly empire line like the pattern originally is sort of designed to be. And then I think that I'm going to be very careful to cut the right size and maybe cut a size a little bit bigger to allow for a little bit more wiggle room in the hips because I don't want this to end up being too tight and then not wear it because it's uncomfortable to wear. And so yeah, I'm excited to get to that, and I'm excited to wear this fabric. I love the colors and the design. I think it's going to be so special. The next project is not a priority, but I would very, very much like to get to it if I have the time. And it is in this medium to heavyweight linen, in this light plum color that I found at Coupon Saint-Pierre, which is another fabric shop in Paris. Both Coupon Saint-Pierre and Sacré Coupon that I mentioned earlier have internet shops as well, and they do international shipping. If you'd like to check them out, I'll link them below. But I got this cut of 3 meters of this linen fabric, and it is pretty heavy, which also means it's opaque, so I won't have to worry about transparency. But I love it, and it's got this really lovely texture to it. It's sort of slubby, and I think that in this color it's just absolutely gorgeous. So I'd like to make an Ali Olsen Highlands dress. I've made this a few times before, and I especially have a version in a black Cupro that I wear all the time. And then recently, last summer, I made one in a coral linen that I got at Mills End Fabrics in Reno. And I love that. It just got warm enough to wear it again, and it is on constant rotation in my wardrobe. I love it. And so I would probably wear a lot another version, especially in this really lovely linen fabric as well. It's not as bright and loud as the coral version, and also not as sober and sort of serious as the black version. And so yeah, I think it would be a great addition to my wardrobe and something I wore all the time. So I've just come back from a bit of a break. My camera overheated because it's a bit of a hot day today, and I decided to take a break and have some lunch. But let me get on to the next category, which is skirts, because I did organize this somewhat. This is not exactly an order of priority. This is more, yeah, just ideas. But I would like to make a skirt out of this blue and white striped linen that I got from Fabric Godmother when I was in London in March. I had an order sent to my hotel in advance, and you can check out what I got up to during that trip in a video that I'll link here. But yeah, I got this 100% linen from Fabric Godmother. I think I have 2 meters, and it's just really bouncy and lovely. It's got, yeah, this lovely drape to it. It has some bottom weight to it, and I think that what's really interesting about this is not only that it's a beautiful color, blue against the white, but also it's got these little pinstripes as well, and I don't think I've seen that before, or I haven't seen it in a long time, and so I wanted to get it. It is slightly transparent, so I'll have to be careful what I wear underneath it, but I would like to make a skirt out of this. I'd like to make the Sew Over It Ruby skirt, which is a free pattern by Sew Over It. I think you just need to sign up for their newsletter. And what's interesting about this one is that not only it's free, but it's very, very similar to their Sienna skirt, which is one of the patterns in their Summer Dreaming ebook. So you can't buy it separately, you have to buy it with the ebook, which is I think 40 pounds, so it's kind of expensive. So interesting in that it's the same shape almost. It has the same button-down placket in the front, gathering at the waist in the front and the back, and then it's got sort of an A-line shape, and it's below the knees. And the only difference that I can see between the two of them is that the ruby skirt has an elasticated waistband in the back, which makes it even more interesting because it's going to be just so much more comfortable. For example, if you have a big lunch, or if you sit down, or if you want to tuck in something bulkier, the waistband will be a little bit more flexible and adjustable, and I think that that's going to be so comfortable in the summertime. And so I'd like to make that. I'm thinking of making a video of following just a video vlog of making this skirt because I think it's going to be interesting and just the perfect summer project. And what I'd like to do is the stripes are horizontal. I'm thinking of playing around with the stripe placement by making them vertical in most of the body of the skirt. Because the skirt isn't very form-fitting, I don't think that'll be very important that I keep the grain line in the correct direction. And then I'd like to add a band around the bottom, sort of a hem band that's about this thick, and have it horizontal around the hemband, and I think that would be really interesting. And then I'd have it horizontal at the waistband as well, although the waistband is slightly shaped, slightly, curved, and so it would be more diagonal along the waistband. And I think that'd be really cool. Ooh, and I got these really, really pretty buttons while I was in Kumamoto in Japan, in Kyushu, when I went for my honeymoon last year, a year ago, and I picked these up. I think Kumamoto was my favorite city to visit, and not a little because of Kumamoon. I love Kumamoon. But I found this in a really tiny haberdashery in one of those like covered commercial streets, and let's see if you can see the color. It's this really beautiful sort of stone blue, and I think it'll go really nicely with this skirt. It's the perfect size, and so yeah, I'm really excited that I'll be able to use this honeymoon sort of souvenir button with this skirt, and I think that's gonna be interesting. And yeah, I think it'll be just a really classic, almost nautical skirt, and I'm excited to make that. The next project, I'd like to make the same skirt, the ruby skirt, and I'm thinking of including it in the same vlog video, but I'd like to make it in this embroidered cotton that I got from Rainbow Fabrics when I went to London as well. They're located in Kilburn, so not very far from the center of the city. And I got this. It's got this really cool sort of diamond pattern to it with little, I think it's more of a broderie anglaise, or I can't remember how to say that anymore. Someone told me last time in the London video as well, but I can't remember. And it's supposed to go this way, but I thought would be interesting in this skirt is it's got this sort of design along the selvage. So I think it would be interesting to use that as the hem. So I might turn it so that the lozenges are going this way, and then use this at the hem. And I think it would be really cool. And also this would be more of a voluminous skirt as well, because this is a pretty medium weight, heavy hang sort of cotton, and I think that would be really nice. And I was thinking of actually first making a dress out of this because it's just so beautiful. And I was thinking of making the same dress that I'm wearing now, the McCall's, I can't remember the number, but it's a McCall's dress, and it's got buttons down the front, it's got this elasticated neckline in the front and the back, and then it's pretty loose and big. It's got pockets and then a ruffle at the hem. I'll insert a photo so that you can see it better. But I was thinking of making that. But in the end, I think I'm still pretty divided on which one to make. Maybe I'll have enough to, I don't think I'll have enough to make bowls. But I think that I'll wear it a lot more as a separate. I think so, yeah. I think I will wear it a lot more if it's a skirt, because then I can pair it with a lot of different things in my wardrobe and it'd be easy to wear and to wash. So yeah, I think that I'm going to do that instead, but it's just absolutely gorgeous and I'm excited to get to it. Next, I would like to make another skirt, and I would like to, another white skirt, and I have this leftover piece of linen and viscose blend fabric that I got, I think, from Coupon Saint-Pierre a year or two ago. I think this is what I made my sienna skirt in, for example. And it's just got this really nice drape, and it's a little bit softer and not as scratchy as 100% linen because there's that viscose blend in it. And I would like to make the True Bias Mauve skirt, which is a tiered skirt, and it's got lots of different options. I would like to make the midi length, and I'd like to make it with, I think, the 3 tiers rather than 2 tiers. Because you can have one long tier and then a short one, or 3 sort of divided up. And I think I'll make the 3 for extra volume. Because I have, you know, the tiered white skirt has been on trend and on social media for a long, long time now, at least 5 years. But I love it. And I think it looks so elegant every time I see it. And I think it would look really nice with a lot of the pieces of my wardrobe. And a white skirt always sort of works. And so I think that it would look lovely. And a little bit, you know, casual with the way that this wrinkles, not too formal. And I'm thinking of adding some insert lace along each, so each panel attaches and then there's gathers below in the panel below to the top panel piece. I'm thinking of adding some insert lace because I know Closet Core Patterns, they just published, I think a month or 2 ago, was one of the blouses that they did in their crew program. They did a video as well, which is free to watch on YouTube. I'll link it below as well, how to work with insert lace and how to insert into your projects. And that works for all projects, not just their blouse that they made. And I just love the look of insert lace. I don't have any that I could use, so I'll have to go look for it. But I think that would look really, really cool. Or just, yeah, add some pleats or something for detail. But I think that, yeah, a tiered white skirt in a white linen viscose blend would be lovely for the summertime. The next project I'd like to get to is the Helen's Closet Donovan skirt, and this is a skirt that I've made many times before, more in viscose fabrics. So I have, for example, a vintage Italian tile print viscose fabric from Fabric Godmother. I think they designed it a few years ago. I don't think there's any left. I don't think they print it anymore, but it's my absolute favorite Donovan skirt to wear. It's sort of a pebbly viscose fabric. And then I have another one in what I call my mermaid viscose fabric. It's this slightly shiny blue, green, and yellow and pink fabric, and I made that I think 2 summers ago, and I just absolutely love it. But I'd like to try making it in linen because this seems to be the theme of this summer season is linen. And I'm happy about that. I'm happy I was able to source these fabrics because I think I declared that as an intention to sew with more linen at the beginning of the year, and so it's coming to fruition. And so I would like to make a Donovan skirt in this linen gingham. It's black and white gingham, and it's got, I think it's 1 centimeter large checks. And this is also from Fabric Godmother, and I bought that as well when I was in London in March. And I was sort of hemming and hawing over what to make with this. My husband doesn't like it. He says it looks like a kitchen towel, but I don't know what to say to him anymore. He doesn't understand. It's French. Anyway, he's French. He should know this. It's French tradition. Anyway, so this Vichy, or gingham, I thought it's a very staple sort of fabric, and it's black and white. It would go with everything. It's kind of like polka dots, where it's just a staple print. You cannot go wrong with gingham. And sure, it's a little bit more country and Brigitte Bardot and 50s, 60s fashion, but I love it. And I think the Donovan skirt is more of a modern contemporary shape, and so it won't be too vintage and like voluminous. And I think that I just love it. I love the slash pockets instead of inseam pockets. I love the side slits and the length, the midi length, and just the elasticated waistband. It's super, super comfortable to wear all day, every day. And I think that in this linen, in this gingham linen, I would wear it all the time. So yeah, that will definitely get sewn up, and it's a pretty quick project, so I'll be able to sew it up and wear it very, very soon. The next few projects are a part of an intention I have for the summertime, and it is to make a pair of linen pants because I see them a lot and I always think, oh, how comfortable and beautiful and just perfect they look for the summertime, and practical as well. So it's a little bit more aligned with my intention to make more casual garments for at home and on the weekends and for the summertime. And so I would like to make these seamwork Joss pants in this light green, sort of celadon green. I'm not sure if that's a French word or not, but it was called celadon green when I bought it. 100% linen fabric, and this fabric is definitely linen. Like, it is sort of the most traditional sense of linen that you can think of. It's very scratchy, it's very stiff, it's got a good amount of body and bounce to it, but it's not something that I would like to have directly against my skin. And so I chose the Joss pants because they look like they're a lot more of a wide leg pant. It does have an elasticated waist, so it will be against my skin there, but I usually wear a camisole tucked in to keep it from rubbing, and I don't think it'll be rubbing too much unless I sit down and like rub. And I like the shape of it. I think that the wide leg is intriguing. It has, I think, it has patch pockets, which will be pretty easy to sew on, and then it's got an interesting hem length. It's not down past the ankles, it's just above the ankles. And so, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to try. And also, this pattern is a free beginner pattern. It's free for a limited time only, so Seamwork over the past few seasons have been promoting some of their patterns by offering them for free for the season. So I imagine the Joss pants will only be free for the next 2 months or so, maybe to the end of August. And so snatch that up if you're interested. I will put the link below. But yeah, I'm thinking of also making a vlog about this too, because I think it's going to be an interesting, sort of relaxing project and easy to share. But let me know if that interests you. And yeah, I think that in this fabric, it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. I have 3 meters. I think I got this from Sacré Coupon 3 or 4 years ago, and I've been having a really hard time figuring out what to make with it because it is so itchy. But I think it's going to look absolutely beautiful as a pair of summer pants. The second pair of summer pants in linen that I'd like to make, I don't actually have the fabric, but I do have this to show you. It's the linen viscose blend fabric that I'm going to make the Maeve skirt out of, that I can show you for comparison because it's going to be white. I'd like to make the Helen's Closet June pants. It's a pattern that I've had in my stash for a long time now, and I've been meaning to make it up. So it's very similar to the Joss pants in that it is more of a high-waisted rise. It is a wider leg fit, although the June pants, I don't think it's as wide leg as the Joss pants. The June pants do go down past the ankle like a regular pant leg length, and then I think it's inseam pockets instead of patch pockets. But I love Helen's Closet patterns. I think that they're really lovely to work with, especially, and I think it'll be really easy to sew up. And I've been wanting a pair of white linen pants, and so I ordered recently some slub linen, or not slub, it's stone-washed linen, and it's got this really beautiful natural slub to it. And I think that the slub, contrary to this fabric, which is just a regular linen fabric, it's more, it doesn't have as much of a slub to it. I think that maybe the slub will make it a little bit softer, and then also more relaxed looking, and maybe add to a little bit of the opacity so that I don't have to worry so much about what I'm wearing underneath. But I think that it's going to be, yeah, lovely to wear. I do think that I'll need to use a sort of pinkish viscose fabric close to the tone of my skin for the pockets, and maybe on the other side of the waistband to keep the fabric from being too... So for example, if you put white behind white, it's going to show through a lot more. So kind of like that. I don't know if you can see the difference. Can you see the difference? I don't want the pockets showing through to the right side. Yeah, you can't, I can't show you. Anyway, you'll have to imagine it. I don't want the pockets showing through very obviously to the right side, so if I do it in a viscose or other fabric that's very close to my skin tone, it'll be more invisible underneath the fabric, and so I'm going to probably do that, and I think that, yeah, I hope it's going to be a great summer staple very soon. Okay, so on to the last 2 projects, which is the same project really. So I just saw the new Closet Core Crew pattern, and I am a member. I became a member this year, and not all the patterns are for me, but I do like some of them. And you can sign up and cancel your membership after just a month to get just 1 pattern at a time, and it's about the same price as a regular pattern. You just have to do it within a certain time frame. But they just published the Bianca swimsuit, and I think it looks fabulous. And there are a few details that I just absolutely love about it. It is the neckline I find really, really beautiful with the gathers in the front, and it's a V-neck, but it's a little bit, you know, it's changed up a little bit. You can tie the ties around the neck in different ways. You can cross it in the front, or you can just tie it around to the back. And I like the back choices, so you can have just a bar with an attachment, or you can have sort of a loopy, stringy sort of situation going on. And then I like that it's good coverage around the bum, because there are a lot of swimsuits that I've been wanting to make, but I don't like a whole lot of bum being out. I like good coverage in the bum without it looking like a diaper either. And so this one looks like it has pretty good coverage because I don't want to emphasize my bum. Yeah, my hips are 2 to 3 times larger than my waist, and so it just looks, it steals the limelight. And so I'd like the eye to be further up. And I think that this bathing suit will do that with the details in the back and in the front. I think that'll be really nice. And so I would like to make it in either or both of these fabrics. So first this is a recycled polyester lycra fabric that I got from Pretty Mercerie, which is another French haberdashery online and fabric shop. I got it from them about a year ago. I think it was too late in the season last year for me to make something out of it, but I have it, and it's got this abstract design to it, kind of like bird wings in flight, but not exactly. And it's a dark marine blue base with white, and so it's not black and white, and it's a little bit softer than black and white. And I think I'd like to make it in this first, because I think it would look stunning as a full bathing suit. And I think that also if I make mistakes, it'll be a lot less obvious in this pattern fabric than in this fabric. So this fabric is another one from Pretty Mercerie, and I found it very, very recently. It's a little bit slinkier, a little bit less thick than the polyester fabric. This is lycra, so it's also polyester, but it's not recycled polyester, and it's not as thick. It feels stretchier, and I think that, yeah, mistakes will show much, much better with these. And so this is sort of this light mint green that I've been a little bit obsessed with lately, and I think it would look lovely. And I'm not entirely sure if I want a full bathing suit in one color, but I think I could pull it off. I think that this color is really, really beautiful. And for a solid color bathing suit, I think that this is probably the best choice. It's not neon, it's not orange. It's this lovely bright color that I can probably pull off, so I think I can do it. But yeah, I'm gonna get to that soon because I would like to have those bathing suits ready. I'll be going to the Alps for vacation this summer, and there are a few lakes up in the Alps on the sort of Haute-Provence side of the Alps that we'll be, so on the French side, that we'll be going to. And I think that, yeah, it's gonna be lots of swimming in these man-made lakes up in the mountains, and so I have some time to get to it, but I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous in these two fabrics, or even just one. I think I'll definitely make this one first, but I think it's going to look great. So really quickly, let me show you, before we end, the knitting and embroidery projects that I'm working on at the moment. So for knitting, I cast this on about a month or two ago, and I've abandoned it since, but I will get back to it. It is the Hey Sailor top by Andrew Mowry, and I am currently making it in this Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the rhubarb rose and cream colorways. And I just love the mosaic design of this cardigan. I think that it's going to be really lovely for the summertime if I finish it, because I haven't gotten very far. I really like the sort of boat neck and the grown-on sleeves and the sort of boxy cropped shape of it. I like that there's the button band in the back, so it's going to be the first time that I've ever done a closure like a button band in knitting, and then also the color work, the mosaic with these two colors. It's my first time doing color work, so I think it's the perfect pattern to try that because you can carry the colors behind. You don't have to break the colors. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it's pretty simple for color work, and I love color work, and so if I can get into that somehow. So far, I think that it's looking pretty good. So my version is in the same sorts of yarn as what she uses in her sample, I think, but I chose this rhubarb robe instead of red, and so I think it'll be a softer contrast than what she has in her sample photo. But I think it's going to be great. I just need to, I've lost my knitting motivation in the past month or so, so hopefully I'll get it back and finish this before the end of the summer. And then lastly, I am working on another cross-stitched bookmark, and this one is in a peony design, and I just love the colors. This one's a little bit less complicated than the first one I made. So I first made this one, which is the William Morris Strawberry Thief design, and I think that this one has fewer colors or fewer color changes. It's a little bit more of a simple design, and it's going to look like this in the end. So this is a kit that I purchased. It's a the Louvre Museum and DMC collaboration, and I think it comes from this painting. You can see there. But it just makes it really easy to do, and apparently it's going to look like this in the end. And so, yeah, I really like working on it. I really love these colors. I find these colors really calming, and it's just easy. Cross-stitching is easy. And so, yeah, I'm excited to get to that, or get that done and use it. I don't think I'll use it as a bookmark, but more as decoration around the house somehow. But yeah, it's kind of nice for winding down at the end of the day and listening to ASMR and sort of calming down. And so that's what I've been working on at the moment when I'm not sewing or reading or doing anything else. But yeah, I hope to finish it soon, and I think I'm gonna love it. So there you have it. That is everything that I'm planning on making this summer season. I have a pile of fabrics next to me that I need to put away. But I hope that some of that has inspired you or gotten your creative juices flowing for the summertime and your summer projects. I will link below in the description all of the patterns that I've talked about, any fabric that's still available, and fabric shops that I've mentioned, so don't hesitate to check that out. Let me know in the comments what you're planning on making this summer, if it's a specific project or a type of garment like summer linen pants that you're looking forward to getting to. It always gives me ideas, so please don't hesitate. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss any new videos from me. I will see you again very soon with a new video, and I hope you are all doing well. Take care, and bye-bye.